Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to PrepBee, the final 30 days challenge, and we are at day 25. We are going to do CAT 2022 slot 3 passage tonight. All right. As software improves, the people using it becomes less likely to sharpen their own know-how. Applications that offer lots of prompts and tips are often to blame. Simpler, less solicitous programs push people harder to think, act, and learn. So, as software becomes more sophisticated, more user friendly, people rely more on it, which means that they do not push themselves enough to learn more or to develop their skills as much. The more automation provides the individuals, less likely, they make the individuals less likely to think critical and they are not independent enough. Okay. The software that offers a lot of guidance and assistance like pop-up prompts हो गए ये सारी चीजें हो गए they can reduce the user's motivation to solve problems on their own. In contrast, simpler software that doesn't provide as much help encourages users to think and problem solve, which leads to learning. 10 years ago, information scientists at Utrecht University in the Netherlands had a group of people carry out complicated analytical and planning tasks using either rudimentary software that provided no assistance or sophisticated software that offered a great deal of aid. The researchers found that the people using the simple software developed better strategies, made fewer mistakes, and developed a deeper aptitude for the work. The people using the more advanced software, meanwhile, would often aimlessly click around when confronted with a tricky problem. The supposedly helpful software actually circuited their thinking and learning. So, 10 years ago, there was this group of people who were carrying out some analytical tasks, and one was carrying a rudimentary software and another was having a sophisticated software. The one with rudimentary software, they developed better strategies, they made fewer mistakes, they had deeper aptitude for work. But the sophisticated ones, their thinking and learning ability was surpassed, and they were aimlessly clicking around when confronted with a tricky problem. According to philosopher Hubert Dreyfus, our skills get sharper only through practice when we use them regularly to overcome different sorts of difficult challenges. So, when you practice, when you use your skills regularly to overcome different challenges, only then your skills will get sharper. The goal of modern software, by contrast, is to ease our way through such challenges. Arduous, painstaking work is exactly what programmers are most eager to automate after all. That is where the immediate efficiency gains tend to lie. So whatever is the difficult, arduous work, the painstaking work, that is exactly what you are going to automate, right? And now that is where because you will gain efficiency there. In other words, a fundamental tension ripples between the interest of the people doing the automation and the interest of the people doing the work. All right. So here, what they are trying to say is that uh, there is a conflict between goals of those who design software and people who actually use the software. The people who design the software, they want to make things easier and more efficient, and people who use the software may lose the opportunity to develop their skills if the software does not really automate all of that. Nevertheless, automation's scope continues to widen. With the rise of electronic health records, physicians increasingly rely on software templates to guide them through patient exams. The programs incorporate valuable checklists and alerts, but they also make medicine more routinized and formulaic and distance doctors from their patients. Harvard Medical School professor Beth Lone in 2012 journal article warned that when doctors become screen driven, following a computer's prompts rather than the patient's narrative thread, their thinking can become constricted. In the worst cases, they may miss important diagnostic signals as well. So, author is telling that despite all the drawbacks, the use of automation is expanding. In medicines, as electronic health records become more common, doctors they rely on software templates that guide them through the process of examining patient and recording information. Now, while these software programs provide helpful tools like checklists and alerts, they also make medical practice more routine and less personalized. Doctors become detached from their patients as they focus more on the following the software's prompts rather than engaging the patient. All right. So now, when the doctors are becoming more screen driven, they stop considering the patient's individual story and symptoms, leading to less effective or empathetic care. In a recent paper published in the journal Diagnosis, three medical researchers examined the misdiagnosis of Thomas Eric Duncan, the first person to die of Ebola in the US, at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital, Dallas. They argue that the digital templates used by the hospital clinicians to record patient information probably help to induce a kind of tunnel vision. These highly constrained tools, the researchers write, are optimized for data capture, but at the expense of sacrificing their utility for appropriate triage and diagnosis, leading users to miss the forest for the trees. Medical software, they write, is no replacement for basic history taking, examination skills, and critical thinking. All right. A recent study analyzed the misdiagnosis of Thomas, the first person who died from Ebola in US, and it showed how electronic health record templates may have contributed to this error. So the researchers argue that the use of digital templates at the hospitals may have caused the doctors to focus too narrowly on the structured data, missing a broader view of the patient's condition. So the researchers suggest that while the digital templates were good at capturing the data, they limit the doctor's ability to make proper decisions for diagnosis or prioritize the treatment. Doctors end up focusing too much on the details rather than the overall picture. So the researchers stress that medical software should not replace fundamental skills like taking the patient's history or performing physical examinations or thinking critically. These human abilities are essential for your diagnosis. There is an alternative. In human-centered automation, the talents of people take precedence. In this model, software plays an essential but secondary role. It takes over routine functions that a human operator has already mastered, issues alerts when unexpected situation arises, provides fresh information that expands the operator's perspective and counters the biases that often distort human thinking. The technology becomes the expert's partner, not the expert's replacement. So there is an alternative as well. Alternative approach is called as human-centered automation, where human skills are prioritized, technology is used as a complement. All right, so in this human-centered automation, the software handles the repetitive tasks, and humans, they do the repetitive tasks. They alert users to unexpected situations, or they give new information that can, widen your perspective. It supports the human experts. They enhance their ability. They do not replace them. It is a partnership between the human user and the technology. All right. From the passage, we can infer that author is apprehensive about use of sophisticated automation for all of the following reasons, except one. It stops users from exercising their minds. It could mislead people. Computers replace humans. It stunts the development of its user. So what is the two, main two things that you're very sure कि ये तो answer हो ही नहीं सकता. What are those two options? It's fun and four. It stops users from exercising their mind. It stunts the development of users. This is what the main idea of this whole passage is. Now, it could mislead people. Yes, it can. कि तुम ज़्यादा focus कर रहे हो details पे rather than the broader picture, or you know you're not having you're when confronted with the tricky problem, you're not doing anything. Computers could replace humans. See, computers कहाँ से आया पहले, and if that's not the apprehension कि replace कर जाएंगे तो क्या होगा. That's not even the apprehension. In the Ebola misdiagnosed case, we can infer that doctors probably missed the forest for the trees because why? They were led by the data processed by digital templates, exactly what is given here. The digital templates forced them to acquire, forced them? No, it enabled them. They used the wrong type of digital templates? No, it's not about wrong type. The data collected was not sufficient? No, we are not talking about this. They were just led by the data. They did not focus, and they relied more on the data rather than the human critical thinking as well, that what diagnosis is required and all of that. We did not observe the patient. Now, in the context of the passage, all of the following can be considered examples of human-centered automation, except software that offers interpretations when requested by the human operator All right. Software that auto completes text when the user writes and mail. Now इससे तुम्हारा मतलब क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग कम हो जाएगी, तुम सोचने से मतलब मजबूर हो जाओगे. So this is not human centered automation. This one complements you rather than replacing you entirely. So this is not your answer. So second is your answer. It can be inferred that in the Trek University experiment, one group of people was aimlessly clicking around because why? They were hoping that the software would help carry out the task. They were given a sophisticated software. So they were aimlessly clicking around. क्यों? क्योंकि उनको लगा सॉफ्टवेयर में ही आंसर मिलेगा. They were not critically thinking. They were not using their brains. They did not have the skill set. नहीं. They were carrying out more efficiently. Yes, but इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि इसकी वजह से ये हुआ. Cause and effect वाला दिक्कत आ रहा है यहाँ पे. They wanted to avoid making mistakes again. Who said this? It is a very simple passage, simple yet beautiful passage. Now, various industrial sectors, including retail, transit systems, enterprises, educational institutions, event organizing, finance, travel, etc., have now started leveraging these beacon solutions to track and communicate with their customers. A beacon fixed on a shop onto a shop wall enables the retailer to assess the proximity of the customer and come up with a much targeted or personalized communication like offers, discounts, and combos in each shelf. Smartphones or other mobile phones can capture the beacon signals, and distance can be estimated by measuring received signal strength. Beacons are tiny and inexpensive micro-located based technology devices that can send radio frequency signals and notify nearby Bluetooth devices of their presence and transmit information. So this is introducing your idea what is beacon. Now there is something about technological devices. So what devices are they? Smartphones or other mobile devices that can capture the beacon signals, and distance can be estimated by measuring received signal strength. How will you do it? Now about measuring distance, यहाँ पे दिया है to how to assess the proximity of the customer, you are doing something. तो ये वाला दिखाएगा and 2 and 1 is linked कि यहाँ पे ये कर सकते हो, कहाँ कहाँ यूज हुआ है 1 में दिखाया गया है. So 4 3 2 1. Now it does seem to me that the job of comedy is to offend or have the potential to offend, and it cannot be drained of that potential. Rowan Atkinson said of cancel culture. Every joke has a victim. That's the definition of joke. Someone or something or an idea is made to look ridiculous. The Netflix star continued, I think you have got to be very, very careful about saying what you are allowed to make jokes about. You have always got to kick up, really. He added, there are lots of extremely smart and self satisfied people in what would be deemed lower down in society who also deserve to be filled up. In a proper free society, you should be allowed to make jokes about absolutely anything. This is your main thing. In a proper free society, you should be allowed to make jokes about absolutely anything. All jokes target someone. Yes. Every joke has a victim. दे रखा है. And one should be able to joke about anyone in the society, which is inconsistent with cancel culture. Exactly what cancel culture के हिसाब से अगर हम जाए तो सभी offend हो जाएंगे. ठीक है. Victims of jokes must not only be politicians but also arrogant people. हम ये नहीं बोल रहे कि सबको टारगेट करो या दिस इज नॉट कि पॉलिटिशियन को टारगेट नहीं सबको करना चाहिए. एरोगेंट पीपल लोअर क्लासेस को भी करना चाहिए. एवरी जोक नीड्स अ विक्टिम. It has a victim. It does not need a victim. Cancel culture does not understand the role and duty of comedians, which is to deride and mock everyone. Now, they do not understand the role and duty of the comedian. इससे मतलब first one is much much better कि all jokes के victims होते हैं. You can joke about anyone. You should have that thing, and it is inconsistent with the cancel culture. So that is it for tonight. All the best for your exams.